And welcome to Tournament Rift on Tiberium Wars, I guess. And as the green Scrin on the right side, we do have, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right, but Sh0ckTr34tm3nt. Of course, going to be the green vanilla Scrin. Because this isn't Kane's Rat, there is no sub-factions going to be happening. And on the left side, as the red GDI, we do have H1tm4an. So those are two very crazy names that I don't even know what's going on. There's so many letters in that. Okay, it's Shock Treatment and Hitman, respectively. Shock Treatment, green Scrin. I couldn't commit to that idea, that joke the whole time, because I know that there were some people who at that point, they were like, are you kidding me? It's Shock Treatment and Hitman. How stupid is this guy? And then, you know, there would have been lots of raging happening all over. People would have been clenching their buttholes in a lot of anger. There would have been so much rage happening. But I couldn't let that happen. It would be too funny for my own good. Anyways, oh, sniping that rifleman squad. You know what that means. Not a whole lot, although he did throw his war factory down way the heck over there. So I don't think that Hitman actually saw that. I was going to say not a whole lot because Hitman... Because if you look at this, the range, the line of sight is pretty ridiculous, and then he lost his squad quite a while ago. Oh, just kidding, he spotted the Seeker. Probably, I can't imagine that he would have missed that, because Evil was probably like, hey, there's a unit over here. You might want to look, because otherwise you might miss it. But we do have Engineer APC combos going to be moving out, and he might just let Shock Treatment grab these. He shouldn't, but he might. Oh, was able to grab one, and Shock Treatment, 1,500 credits right there, and, you know, Hitman is going to grab him back, but he does not get that additional 750 credits. And actually, I do want to mention, before I forget, and before this game gets too crazy, because the last Tiberium Wars game that I cast was absolutely insane. It was so awesome. Sorry you and someone else. Anyways, like I said, this game is, well, like I was about to say, this game is actually pretty old. It's like 9 months at this point, almost a year. Played November of last year, and look at that, we're up to 4 and 3, kind of a weird ratio. You usually expect to see something like maybe 4 and 2, and 5 and 3, something 6 and 3, somewhere in there. So that's a little bit, he's got, I would say, an extra refinery. 2,000 credits he didn't necessarily need to spend. Anyways, I'm sure he's going to make it work out in the long run, because he would have been building that extra refinery up there, probably. Anyways, needs to go ahead and pull that Pitbull back, or that Predator tank, not Pitbull. I swear I know the difference between these things. And oh, actually, he's going to be taking this middle expansion, which usually means he's going to be looking to put on some pressure, looking to be a bit more aggressive, rather than taking this more defensive, easier to secure expansion. But this game being pretty old, I haven't seen it, so hopefully you haven't either. Although it's possible that everyone in the world has already seen it except me, and everyone is going to hate this because they've already seen it. Anyways, going to be expanding to the middle, and because of that crane, he was able to throw down that ref super early. Is he going to be? No, he's not going to transfer her harvesters at all, because he is doing just fine over here. Could sell off one of those refineries. He really did not need to make that at all. That could have been 2,000 credits put down in another refinery over there. Of course, in Tiberium Wars, if you didn't know, because some of you out there don't own it, but the economy is a little bit faster. It's quite a bit cheaper. No, snagging that 4th Tiberium spike. So we are going to have 100 credits per second. Gosh, 6,000 a minute in just money. Just money. You could build almost 2 MCVs with that. Almost. This is how he's affording to do this and not sell off any of these refs. This is absolutely crazy. But anyways, refineries cost 1,000 less and harvesters cost 2,000 less, or 200 less. They actually give you money every time you build a harvester. Kind of weird. Anyways, harvesters do cost 200 less, so that's the thing. Oh, 1 Devour tank. So, Shock Treatment, what in the world are you doing? No, back up. This is a weird, huge mistake. That's actually not that huge, but it is a big mistake, and I would say one that, oh, okay, he was, yeah, never mind. Sorry about yelling at you, Shock Treatment. He was busy taking care of this threat over here that I was busy missing. Did look like 1 APC or a couple of Pitbulls did go down, but the Devour tank, oh, is it going to get sniped? One more hit will take it down, and Hitman, you got to be careful there. He probably could have committed there and taken that out, but it does look like he's going to commit to this attack anyways. Needs to pull that Predator tank to the back, and oh! Was that worth it? Maybe calling in that buzzer squad, but again, this is exactly what I was going to talk about with shock treatment. He's getting his army split up, but that was a great concave on that unit, and those buzzers weren't able to do a whole lot. They were able to take down a couple of tanks, and oh yeah, shock treatment. This is what we want to see. We want to see that Tiberium infusion with that laser doing mass damage and taking out that buzzer hive is not what you want to be shooting, especially when you don't have that much infantry, although he probably should actually take that down. But he also needs to be focusing down these Devour tanks, because if shock treatment can just keep pumping out Devour tanks, he will hold here, but it is going to be too much from Hitman. So Hitman, I think, can take this base pretty early on, at least push him back a little bit, do some massive damage. No, he kind of pulled back and just stopped attacking absolutely anything. He could have done some damage to the Warp Sphere or the Portal, but he is going to be going for Devourer tanks. Needs to take out the Buzzer Hive now that his infantry is on the front line, and they are going to be doing quite a bit of damage to these tanks, but too many Buzzer Hives are going down. I think these Buzzers will be able to do quite a bit of damage. They're actually not really going for the infantry that are close. They were heading for those tanks over there and taking out one of the missile squads, but it looks like the Warp Sphere will go down, and just too much out of Hitman. But whoa, what is this happening down here? Shock treatment might be able to keep himself in this game. Never mind, he is expanded over here after going down here and taking that expansion. Actually, he's harvested this entire field, so he is in not too bad of shape. And what I say by that is he's obviously getting his base torn apart, but one of the most important things is, of course, if you get your boy's base torn apart and you still haven't harvested like half your field, that is a huge, huge deal. But he's already moved on. He's getting that blue tip, which is worth twice as much. And on the top of that, he's harvesting from this field down here, and he will most likely lose this base, although he has got a pretty solid defense. He is sniping these tanks, just one-shotting them with so many Devourer tanks, almost one-shotting them. And even with these buzzer hives, like, what are you doing? You're just shooting buzzers that are going to replenish. So Hitman actually making some pretty serious mistakes and just now pulling these harvesters back. But five Seekers, are they going to be able to take down this Predator tank? I guess if they actually turned and engaged it, they would be able to take it, but not if they just take damage to the rear armor. But now Hitman going to be moving in, and that refinery should have been sold off, although it is buying a little bit of time for these Devourer tanks to do some damage. Unfortunately, they're just attacking infantry, which is not what they want to be doing, but you want to be wasting rockets on buzzers. No, you don't. You want to be sending them towards the Devourer tank. Of course, he did have to, take down the buzzer squad, which is where Micro comes in. Got to make sure that you've got your anti-infantry killing the infantry so that you're not wasting so many rockets on just trying to kill buzzers that you may not even hit in the long run. But another Devourer tank does go down, and shock treatment actually doing a pretty solid job of defending. I think Hitman could have done a lot more damage if he would have pushed forward a little bit easier and stopped trying to focus down the individual buzzer squads when they were coming out of the buzzer hives. But now he's basically lost anti-infantry. A huge advantage would have been APCs. He really should have invested in those, and even Devourers, or yeah, Disintegrators going to be coming out of here. Devourer tanks were out, and Corruptors wasn't the right term. But he needs to back on out of here because he is not going to be able to do too much damage to those Disintegrators when they are out in this sort of mass. And Disintegrators, pretty darn cheap, but they do quite a bit of damage. Oh, just kidding, because Hitman is going to be taking this bottom field, although I don't think he's been able to harvest any of this. He might have been able to leech some long distance, harvest some of that Tiberium, but not much, not nearly as much as Shock Treatment, who was able to claim just a few patches. As you can see there, he was able to harvest a little bit, and he will just, if he gets one load, that will have paid for itself. And drone platform is not going to take off. He is going to get a base defense down, and I'm assuming, actually getting a Warp Sphere, not a gravity stabilizer. So interesting there. Nope, just kidding. He does still have a foundry, so that's a thing. He's got a build queue, even though he lost his drone ship, his MCV. I was assuming he was going to be throwing down a... What in the world are they called? Probably should just sell off that portal. Not much he's going to be coming out of that. A gravity stabilizer is what I wanted to mean, so that he could build another MCV, but he has the crane, so that's less of an issue than it otherwise would be. And selling off, actually losing all those refineries, and actually selling off some of the refineries up here. There was like 3 last time we were up there. So who's going to be able to take this game? That's $1 million question. Actually, in this day of Command and Conquer, it's like the $100 question. So it's like pay $1 million to see an answer. But going for the Tiberium spike. He is going to be capturing these two down here, which is, of course, the best choice. Going to be getting himself 75 credits. A second trying to get himself close to that 100 credit mark, but those Tiberium spikes have been claimed and reclaimed quite a few times in this game, and now Tripod's out in force. And they are going to be able to drive this army back a little bit, and the army getting separated, getting fairly spread out, even a couple of harvesters in the mix right here, but oh, the stasis field going down. Going to be locking those units down and holding them in position so that the rest of this army can get focused down, even if it's just a little bit, and the Devourer tanks with that, that infused Tiberium power that they have do so much more damage. Actually, it's not that much more, but it is a nice damage assist considering they hardly take up any Tiberium. And oh, one Predator tank, what are you doing? This is what he wants, this is what he needs to be doing, not sending these APCs in here, but focusing down all of these. Oh, will he get the crush? If he gets the crushes, oh, the micro, is it good enough? Oh, only losing 1, 2 tanks. Actually, was that three tanks out from Hitman? So Hitman doing the right thing, moving his tanks out of the way, and shock treatment. Not enough micro to bring this Tripod to crush those units. But oh no, it's not good enough. Losing a couple more APCs to crushing and a couple more to some, you know, laser beams to the face, which is never a good thing if you are GDI and not able to get that crush on that tank right there, able to get it right then and there. But kind of curious because never mind. I thought a couple of the Devourer tanks. Oh yeah, this one isn't. Okay, that one can still fire. I was wondering why he was still trying to attack the phase fielded units while Hitman was Mastermind going to be getting scared away from that Carnier. Does he have only one MCV this whole time? Wow, really? Yeah. So almost. Oh, will he get it? Will he grab it? Will he grab it? Oh, going to be. Oh, and if he can redeploy this and save the Mastermind, he could just, yep, gonna redeploy it, and then he's going to sell it off. Nope, he's apparently not going to sell it off. I just assumed he would sell it off, but he could be going for some GDI tech, or he could just be going for some quick cash. He did throw down that power plant right next to it, which would, of course, suggest a kind of more of a long-term plan, maybe some GDI tech hidden in the future. But did the Mastermind go down, or was he able to teleport away? And the Predator tanks are going to be maybe getting some free Harvester kills because those Harvesters were just sitting there not doing a whole lot. Anyways, Hitman going to be reforming his army a little bit. He does have a little spread out. He is, you know, bringing some flanks on, and he's also getting attacked at home. Going to be going for the refinery, and that Harvester getting himself 1,400 credits right there. Actually, 1,400 credits might be Kane's Wrath. I'm not sure if it was more in Tiberium Wars. I'm actually, I'm not so sure about that. Going to be crushing this base because there is nothing here to stop him. Hitman going to be able to take this base down, and then I'm assuming just kill himself some Harvesters. But shock treatment is not out of this yet. He doesn't have a build queue other than GDI, so he does just have that one power plant from Scrin, and soon that will be the only Scrin building left. He did end up getting that stasis chamber, which I feel was the only used for that support power. Not a whole lot other use out of it, unless you want to really go for a heavy infantry composition in your army. But throwing down even a war factory and getting himself out 4 Harvesters, because this field has been nearly untouched. This field over here nearly untouched, and throwing down a barracks, which curious position considering it's right next to the watchtower, so he can't do anything with that. And no, the Mastermind did not die. Oh, if he can snag this MCV, he can't see that, but oh, that would have been so awesome to see. Just grab that MCV right as it spawns, and going to be taking out this little expansion, so no more money for you. Reaper Tripod's going to be, not Reaper Tripod, Annihilate Tripods. This is Reaper 17. Tripod's going to be moving all up in this base, shooting it up and destroying it. But yeah, Predator tanks going to be taking that down. Carries barracks placement just because it's right there, so he can't produce any units until after that watchtower is already dead otherwise. And then he just throws one down over here, so I guess he really wants to double pump rocket squads, which he is basically out of money. That man spam, not even enough to sustain that. And wow, I want to say you could probably sell off at least 2 of those refineries, get yourself, you know, like 1,000 credits, get you yourself some money, although you do have 75 credits a second, so Hitman, you're not doing too bad a shape considering you have a big army, a pretty good-sized army. Not a super well-balanced army, but a pretty good-sized army. You do have that appropriate amounts of infantry mixed in, and the Predator tank's going to be taking down that watchtower before it can do anything, and of course, no AP ammo. But Tripod's going to be on the front, and this stuff over here needs to be doing something, needs to be attacking. The concave out of Hitman is pretty good, and just now the concave forming up for shock treatment so he can do maximum damage, and he is going to be absolutely destroy this force, just barely taking some losses himself. I'm assuming he's going to be getting out some engineers to recapture those husks, needs to be throwing down some base defenses to help deal with these units, and then needs to be crushing infantry rather than just shooting them and shooting tanks that he can take down very easily. And this sniper team not being very effective, but an APC out of Hitman going to be able to do some damage. Hitman doing way too much damage in my opinion. I think that could have gone a lot more in shock treatment's favor. He did have definitely the tech advantage. Those tripods going to be so powerful, and the sniper team's a great help as well, and this lone APC should have been pulled back long ago. But the MCV able to make it all the way across the map, so he had a long, slow trek. They were like, hey, I want you to go like 100 miles over that way. Just go. And then he's like, you do know that I move a quarter of a mile an hour. Like, just go, okay? I don't want to hear any of your sass. And a couple of Predator tanks actually able to snipe a Harvester pretty quickly. Going to be low on health from earlier engagements, but where are you going? Shock treatment. Clean this up. Clean this up. And I guess Hitman is like, I'll just reverse move into my doom and get instantly killed. Probably the product of a bad rally point / bad unit group, because he probably brought all of his Predator tanks together and was like, hey, I'm going to keep you guys together because you guys are all tanks and you do the same sort of damage. And that ended up being pretty bad for him. And one Reaper tripod going to be going down, and the base creep. Why? Why are you intentionally base creeping towards the field that you're immediately going to get shot up in? Because it's a distraction to take a couple of shots away from the attacking army, but only a few shots, or maybe he just didn't realize that those Harvesters were on the front line because he is not committing to this attack as well. He's just like, hey, or shoot up my rear armor because I'll take way more damage that way. And he's going for a crazy base creep. What is going on with this? He really wants to harvest this Tiberium. But at the same time, he's just throwing units into the fray and not attacking with his other units. I can understand if he was throwing his Harvesters into the fray and like, hey, shoot at this while I kill all your stuff. But that's not really what he's doing. He's trying to snipe a few Harvesters over himself and throw down some base defenses to help him hold this position. Is it going to be enough? I think he will have enough, because there goes the tripod, and with the tanks getting the flank. So actually, despite what I was saying, all of that double talk about how bad of an idea it was, it actually worked out pretty well. Needs to be getting some engineers out here, and the mastermind is going to be here. Possibly do some mind control, but probably not. If he could snag another MCV and sell it off, that would be pretty funny. The battle rages on here, and honestly, I don't even know who's going to win, because both players have made quite a few mistakes, but they're both playing pretty strongly overall, pretty standard play, and nothing to be ashamed of. But Harvester's out on the front line, going to be dying with a full load of Tiberium. That has got to hurt, because he really needed that money. But ultimately, Hitman going to be falling back. Has he done enough damage? He didn't kill the Reaper, the tripod husk, which means, actually, no, it doesn't mean anything, because he doesn't want to build engineers, because apparently shock treatment is like, hey, you know what I don't believe in? Recapturing husks, because that is way too efficient. I'm sure if he, as soon as he notices that, he will be throwing it down and force firing the watchtowers on those infantry and take them down as quick as possible, and going to be losing possibly a war factor. Can he get one more tank out? Needs to immediately take this tank out of the line of fire so he doesn't remove it. This would be an appropriate time to use reverse move. Not going to be enough, and the war factory goes down anyways. Although shock treatment is going to have his base fairly spread out, so he has at least 2 more opportunities. If this base falls, he has 2 more opportunities to make a stand, make something happen, or go for the throat himself and go for shock treatment's base. Is it going to be enough? Sniper team's getting the flank. Good move out of shock treatment. Shock trooper as well. Although, unfortunately, not a very heavy infantry composition, so the sniper teams aren't going to be very effective, but they have been pretty good in evening out the odds in terms of infantry, and just eliminating those rifleman squads, which would have been a lot more deadly to the missile squads, and a lot of the damage output for this army. Needs to just snipe this harvester, because he's not going to be catching up to this army right now, and if he can get a free harvester kill, those power plants aren't going anywhere. Probably should just sell those off, as it'll only momentarily delay Hitman, or shock treatment, to Hitman's base, but Hitman is like, hey, I need all the time I can get because I'm going for the man spam, and are there engineers? Oh, is he going to do something absolutely crazy? Which I love to see crazy, but we do have an engineer, so is he going to be going? Okay, where's the tripod? Where's the tripod? Did you unintentionally? Good. I was going to say, if you unintentionally crushed that tripod, you are absolutely silly, and I would not be very happy, but going to be losing that harvester anyways. Actually, I don't think that was the same one, but the rifleman squads are going to be here, going to get taken out pretty quickly. Rockets don't do too terrible versus rifleman squads. Going to not even have too many upgrades. Can't even tell if they have a number. I do think that they do. A couple of foxholes would have been absolutely awesome here. They would have been able to do a lot more damage since there are no grenadiers here, but tanks on the front line getting torn up by the tanks of Hitman. He was able to group his tanks together and taking a little bit of damage because of that grouping, but he was able to put out a lot more damage on just a few units of shock treatment. So shock treatment actually able to kind of turn this game around. Although Hitman is not out of it yet, he can still take this game back, and putting the harvesters back into the fray. Needs to be using them to crush just like that. Yes, Hitman, yes! That is exactly what I wanted to see. That is exactly what you should have done, and just crushing that army from shock treatment. Although shock treatment, just like Hitman wasn't out of it just a moment ago, shock treatment is not out of it. He does still have quite a base set up. I don't want to say quite an army, but quite a base set up across the map. And actually, Hitman, how in the world did you recapture that? Like, seriously, how? But they are both going for the same almost dead Tiberium field, and Hitman not going to be out of it yet. Oh, grabbing the MCV. Yeah, that was the MCV. Oh, snap. Man, Hitman hitting back just like shock treatment hit you. So actually, this went from being Scrin versus GDI. I forgot that it was even Scrin versus GDI because it's GDI mirror at this point. When I say mirror, I really mean the most broad form of mirror ever. And he needs to be going for the tanks that are wounded, but he's not going to get it. 3 more rockets. Oh, 90 credits. That does not feel very good, but it feels slightly better than losing those 90 credits. Oh, but he also lost 1,400. Just kidding. He got a delayed payment. It's like when you post data check. You're like, yes, I have 1,400 Tiberium crystals, which actually it's not 1,400 Tiberium crystals, but you just write a check for Tiberium. I guess this is coming in the mail. Someone just captured my refinery and sold it off. I'm going to just punch my mic because that seemed like an appropriate thing to do at the time. We all make mistakes, and mine was, you know, assaulting my mic. So hopefully I don't get sent to court. And you know what's the best place for a sonic emitter? On the low ground where it won't really do anything at the back of your base. That's a really awkward spot for that sonic emitter. I feel like just about anywhere else would have been a better position, like maybe on the front lines of the battlefield. But sonic emitter going to be been placed for quite a little while at least. Man, the harvester is going to be going down for shock treatment. Does he have enough to push back to do some damage of his own, or is he just going to see this game? And we do have engineer captures going all over the place. Going to be powering down that. Oh, is he going to get it? Yes! Hitman, you are making a comeback. Shock treatment had you against the ropes, but that is what I want to see when I see it in sonic emitter. That is exactly what I want to see. So Hitman going to be taking massive damage, and oh, is the splash good enough? Yes, it is. Shock treatment hitting back pretty hard with the sonic emitters. Needs to sell this off. It is doing nothing. Even as it watched that tech center get captured. It was like, oh, you're getting captured? I guess I'll do nothing about it because I'm on the low ground. Oh man, criticizing people for something that you can't do as well is exactly what I do, and it makes me feel better about myself, which is probably a horrible life view to have. But I guess we have to live the roads we choose. I'm getting pseudo-philosophical here. Wow, Greek. You learn Greek roots and then you use them wrong and it makes you look stupid. Alright, let's get back to the commentary. I got seriously sidetracked there, and I am having probably too much fun for being sidetracked, but going to be able to snipe a harvester. That was a slight mistake out of shock treatment, losing one harvester. If he would have lost more than that, I would say a pretty serious mistake. Not going to be selling off these refineries, which I have noticed a distinct lack of selling off refineries in this game. Nobody seems to want to do it. But rebuilding that tech center has to hurt, because that's 4,000 credits, and Hitman got 2,000 credits from the last one, versus only the 90 credits that refinery offered, which, no fun at all. And finally being like, okay, I guess I'll shoot something with these Sh0ck emitters, which of course they don't auto-target passive buildings like this. So you have to, you know, tell them to attack, and going to be out of power. Hitman, oh, and the MCV? Huh, you'd think I'd know the difference between an MCV and an ACV. But no, a PC. I don't know anything at this point. But going to be grabbing that engineer. So Hitman was like, hey, I'm going to go snag myself an MCV again. And shocktreatment was like, hey, no son, you're going to kill your own APC. You're going to be forced to kill your own APC, but Orca's going to be a good choice. Firehawks, I feel, would be a better choice, but they are, of course, more costly. And even more costly when you factor in the when you factor in the tech center, which is not something that is already owned, and shock treatment not going to be giving up. So this is why he did not sell off those refineries, although I feel like, you know, 3 harvesters would be enough to saturate that field and harvest it pretty quickly, considering there's not much left and you only need 1 refinery. If you've got 3 harvesters in most situations, you will have a little bit of overlap, but it'll work out pretty well. 3 is the max, and it's better to have 4 on 2 than 3 on 1. Let's not get suggestive. Let's get that harvester back to work. What are you doing? These players, they get so distracted by all of the microing and all of the attacks that they're coordinating and defending against, and they make little mistakes, and then I get to pick them apart for it because I don't have to do anything. I just sit back and watch, and mammoth tanks with railguns. That is not something I have seen in a while. Let's get a closer look at that heat wave coming off that mammoth tank. But oh, the Orca's too good, going to be dropping so many bombs and not taking any losses, taking a little bit of damage from those missiles from the mammoth tanks, but not enough. And oh, another APC. What is with these APCs? Did he? I'm not sure what happened there. I'm guessing it was an APC engineer combo that completely failed. And no, pull your mammoth tank back. Not going to be able to get it. And is he going to be able to get some of these? He can one-shot a couple of these tanks. I think only 2 of them at most. Going to be able to take that one down and then focus down a whole one. Not going to be the most effective way to take down tanks. And looks like he is going to be going for the throat of the economy, because now only 25 credits a second. Just sell off that Sh0ck emitter at this point, shock treatment. I know you don't realize it's there, which is why you haven't sold it off, but still, I'm going to yell at you for it. And the MCV is like, hey, can I get by? It's one of those bad situations. Oh, so close to taking so much damage. That would have been so great to see. I love seeing those MCVs take so much damage, because then I can yell at the players yet again and feel like I actually know how to play the game, which I don't. This has just become like a self-degradation episode, and I'm just like, hey, look at me, I can make fun of myself. Aren't I funny? But the rear armor not going to be the right choice for that Sh0ck emitter. Actually, it's going to be the perfect choice for shock treatment, not the right choice for Hitman. But Hitman mobilizing his army, going to be bringing in the Orcas to do that early damage. And look at that, even having some left over, he needs to be hitting that Sh0ck emitter so that when his tanks roll up, they have as little to do. And no, what are you doing splitting up your army? No, pulling it back. Oh, man spam, but it's just rifleman squads, nothing to worry about. Oh, just kidding. Mammoth tanks, tank missile. Unfortunately, they do have tank missiles. Actually, that's fortunately, but unfortunately, they don't do quite the same amount of damage as Iron Man, but going to be able to snipe a Harvester. Not a whole lot of other threats to shoot at, so I would say that's a pretty good idea, but no rifle, no rocket squads to take down these orcas, so they're going to do maximum damage. Not perfect micro, but I can see the micro orcas. I really want to see a player who's so good that they know exactly how many bombs are needed and that they hardly ever waste an orca bomb. That's what I want to see. That would be so crazy to watch that player micro, and they're like 4 or 8 orcas like that, and Hitman getting taken out on this front. Sonic Emitter, Mammoth Tank combo going to be enough to clear up this base, no problem. Just kidding. Orcas are here. Might want to think about shock treatment. You might want to think about getting some anti-air out, because another Mammoth Tank getting taken down right on your front door. See, you see that? Like 3 extra bombs just went to waste. And just seeing a player who could micro that well would be so cool. I don't think anyone can do it, but it would be absolutely awesome to see. And these orcas definitely paying for themselves. They've sniped, I believe, 2 or 3 full health mammoths, just like 100 to 0%, and going to be getting that AA battery. Unfortunately, no tungsten shells on the menu for shock treatment, but you know what's on the menu? Harvester harassment, which at this stage of the game, you'd expect to see exactly harvester harassment, because we're past the giant battle phase. We're in the, oh crap, there's almost no money left, how do I win phase. And also the, I really hope that my opponent just gets tired of this game and leaves. That phase never seems to work out for me. It's always, you know, both players are thinking it, of course. But one Sonic Emitter going to be able to scare off these Predator tanks, but one more shot could have ended that Predator tank, and of course that splash damage being so good, selling off. Is this going to be the concede? No, he's just seeding that one little building, I guess just the command post. He was like, okay, I'll sell off my tier 2. I've already got my orcas that are doing so much damage, and actually that range on that AA battery is absolutely insane. Going to be turning around one orca, not enough. Pull back your orcas. Hitman going to be losing one orca, and oh, the mastermind, is it good enough? Yes! It is able to grab that APC, and this is the only Scrin unit left on the match. I keep forgetting that shock treatment was originally Scrin because he's so much GDI. Even rocking the dual Conyards for that dual Sonic Emitter power, which is so awesome. And he can see his opponent just capturing 25 credits a second. No, a reactor is left and a harvester, so 3 Scrin things are left on the map, soon to be only 2, I assume. Oh, is he going to actually take down that Buster Squad, or is that going to survive his 3rd Scrin thing on the map? But attacks happening all over the place. We got orcas and we got an attack over here. Just a man spam could be dealt with fairly easily with mass rifleman squads if you keep them on the move, or some sniper teams wouldn't be too bad of an idea. But shock treatment going to be taking some serious damage, and we have one heroic tank, a couple more veteran tanks going to be in the mix, but this heroic tank going to be the boss of the team. He's like, hey, what's up? I got a gold, I got a star, and oh, that harvester is the unsung hero, because he just ran over like 25 rocket squads, which would be pretty crazy. But a couple of Predator tanks going to be taking some serious damage from those rifleman squads. Just kidding, they do almost no damage. But, of course, that is their thing. That is what they do. And, oh, was he able to get it? We do have the sell-off of that MCV. So the capture, he just had this one APC that whole time, and he wasn't able to recapture. So Hitman staying on that MCV capturing, I guess, because he is loving that this time. Although shock treatment did get the original. He was the original, you know, MCV capture of this game, and then Hitman's been like, okay, you want to play that way? I will capture so many MCVs, it's ridiculous. Just capturing buildings in general, he's making it work. He's getting that extra money, and more power to him, because shock treatment is going to be getting his base picked apart, at least until he runs into the Sonic Emitter. And actually, if he uses the orcas, he can do some serious damage to those Sonic Emitters. I don't know if taking out the power plants will be enough to take out the Sonic Emitters. Yes, it will. He is low on power, of course, refineries. I kind of like to leave refineries alive in certain cases when I know that, like, I'm just trying to take out power and sabotage their base defenses. I will leave. Oh, hit that power plant right now and get it gone. And this APC is going to turn into a red unit pretty soon. What is this mastermind even doing? Is he going to grab a tank? Yes, that is exactly what he was going for. He does now have a heroic Predator tank, and is this APC going to be good enough to do anything? I guess not, and able to completely clean that up, so bravo! Bravo! Shock treatment, bravo. You ran that mastermind basically across the map, and actually the APC, I wonder if he said that he might have set that on hold fire stance. I don't even know if that works. I don't know if when you transfer it back, what happens to it. Oh, is he going to be... Oh, man, is he going to snipe his own Predator tank? Will he get it? He does have a heroic Orca right there, so that is not something I don't know if I've ever seen in a cast. But, oh, how many airfields does he have? Just 2. Only 5 Orcas, and going to be taking some damage from over here. Throw down those watchtowers and selling off that barracks just at the right time. Those few credits can add up over time. He needs to make sure. Oh, crap! Shock treatment. Is he going to totally own? Hey, look at that. Nice little mastermind going on there, and able to take down some of those Orcas. No, he was able to take down something. Orca's going to have to land over here and switch airfields. He needs to just sell off that sonic emitter. I've said that way too many times. But, oh, the hero Predator tank for shock treatment. Both of these players have made some pretty good moves overall and have provided a pretty darn entertaining game. But I think shock treatment can take it back. Hitman has been doing a lot of crazy things in this game. Been doing a lot of fun times USA. But, oh, grabbing that airfield is going to be enough to seal the deal. Those Orcas just too much to handle. So both of these players playing pretty well in this game, and I don't know what is it about Tiberium Wars, but both of the games that I cast, and I've cast some actually pretty darn crazy Tiberium Wars games overall. If I think about like how many ratio of games that I've cast, which some of them don't go up, like if they're bad, then because people are more likely to send in games for Kane's Wrath and Red Alert 3. So statistically, the more games that people send in, the more bad games that I watch. That's just kind of how it goes, because people, you know, they send in games of themselves, and most of the time they aren't very good, and so they end up being Kane's Wrath and Red Alert 3, so I end up seeing the most bad games for those two, and then I get, like, Tiberium Wars, and it's just, like, a bunch of these games that are just crazy. Like this one. So it seems like every game from Tiberium Wars is just awesome, crazy, but that is, of course, not the case. Talking way too much at the end. Shock treatment going to be our victor. Not able to hold it out. Hitman, good game, but not enough. Just look at that resource graph. That is just silly. Hitman, 100 credits a second somewhere in there, making it work for him for a little while at least. Just huge masses of units, just up, down, up, down. Okay, I'm done. Sybert signing out. I hope you enjoyed it.